Hey, how are you guys? Yeah, thumbs up or thumbs down? Yeah, okay, I have a couple of quick notes. We have just a couple of spaces still available for the party tomorrow night. So if you or your kids or your grown-ups want to come, let somebody, me or Pastor Carl or Pastor Lou know. We will make sure and get you signed up. Is that 5:30 tomorrow? So if you want to come, there's pasta and all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games. So, think about it, okay? Let us know tonight, though, so we can make sure. Okay, we're going to start tonight by inviting anyone who wants one. We're going to do something with one of these puzzles like what's on the screen. So if you would like to come up and get one, I would love to give you one because we are going to, and then take it back to your seat. Okay, so you get that one. There you go. Yeah, grab one of those, yep. Yep, here we go.
Oh, we get to color it?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you may need a grown-up to help you. You may need a grown-up to help you get it out of the bag. There you
Wait,
go.
I don't want an elephant.
You want a penguin instead?
Wait, what are they?
Penguin or elephant, that's what I got.
Elephant.
Okay. Penguin. Good. Yep, there's little, scratcher things if you need one.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. All right. So, you may have worked out that these are not normal. Oh, if any adults want them, you guys are welcome to them too. I did not say that. But if any adults want them, please feel free to come up and get one. I have lots. I have so many. Okay, these are not regular puzzles, right? Hey, Reem, do you want a puzzle? Okay, come here. Who'd you bring? Did you bring Rhea with you today?
Yeah, Riz just good.
Okay, here, I'll give you 3 different ones, and then you guys can
I've seen
decide, okay? So there's 3 puzzles. Let me give you 3 scratchers.
So, yeah, you got scratched.
There's 3, yep. Okay. You guys can decide which one you get. He's got one for you. Okay. So, these are not regular puzzles, right? They are all black with just an outline of an animal on them. But I gave you a little scratchy tool, 2 sides, one's pointy, one's kind of flat. And when you scratch, you can choose to just do the puzzle as is with the black. That would be very hard, okay? Or you could scratch the puzzle. Do you need that? Or do you want one of these? You scratch the puzzle, and more colors will come up from underneath. The more the picture the more you scratch, the more picture you discover. You could scratch off all the black part if you want to, or maybe just a little bit. That is up to you. So now, we're going to imagine that these puzzles are actually a book from the Bible. Who has heard of Penguins, the book from the Bible? No, it's just imaginary. Last week, remember, we talked about the fact that the book of the Bible is actually a whole library, right? Yes, we did. 66 books, in fact, and it has all kinds of stories in it. So if I were going to read the library that we call the Bible, or just one book from it, I would find a story, right, Reen? Yes, okay. Now, each book from the Bible is broken down even more into chapters and verses. So, anybody here know what a chapter is? Yes, Aubrey knows. Olivia knows. Do you guys ever read books with chapters in them? Yes. This is, you know then that your story is broken up into chapters. It's like a bite-sized piece of a story. Maybe you read a chapter a day, or sometimes 2 or 3 chapters. Anybody ever read a story and the chapter ends with something really exciting and it makes you want to read another chapter? Anybody ever had that happen? Yes. Okay. I love that. So the books in the Bible are also broken into chapters, and they're broken then even to smaller pieces that we call those verses. And those verses make it really easy for us to find what we're looking for. For instance, I could tell you that we're going to read from the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 36 through 40, and that means you can look in whatever your favorite translation of the Bible might be, find the book of Matthew, go to chapter 22, find verses 36 through 40, and you'd find something that looks a little bit like this. That's not it. Yeah, nope. Yeah, like that. Okay. It says, teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. All the law of the prophets hang on these two commandments. Now, we took this slide from the NIV or the New International Version of the Bible, but if I was reading it from a different version, it could look like this. Okay, it's small. I'll tell you what it says. So we have other versions of the same verses here, and each one tells us the same thing using slightly different words. Jesus said the most important commandments were to love God and love our neighbor. Now, from these 5 verses, can somebody tell me what happens in the rest of the story or the 22 chapters before that? Who can read those 5 verses and know what happened in the whole book? You can? Maybe? Not for sure though, right? I mean, if we only have one little paragraph, it's like having a small piece of a really big puzzle. And if we look at just a verse or a few verses, we're not getting anywhere near the whole picture that the author was trying to tell us. It's just like our puzzle. If I hold up one little piece, can anybody tell me which animal? Okay, but can we know what the whole puzzle is from that one piece? Really? No, but only from one piece? I can't tell. It might be lots of different things. So sometimes it's tempting to take just a couple of verses and say, oh, I know all about Jesus. I know from the 5 verses in Matthew chapter 22 that Jesus told us to love God and love our neighbor. Got it? Love one another. Done. I'm on board with that. It sounds like a good idea. Anybody else on board with that? Yeah? But if we only looked at Matthew 22 verses 36 through 40, we only have a few pieces of those puzzles and we would miss so much of the story. We would miss the story of how Jesus was born. We would miss the story of how Jesus didn't just talk about it. Jesus actually worked to help others every chance he got. And then we would miss the story of Jesus' death and resurrection and that Jesus came back from the dead. And after Jesus talked with his followers, Jesus ascended. He went up to heaven to be with God. We would miss out on an awful lot. And while loving God and loving our neighbor are wonderful things, they definitely aren't the only thing in the book. So our job as Christians, and something that is important to us as Methodists, because that's what we are here at McCabe, is to read the Bible. Read the whole story, not just a verse or two. Read the Bible, and then just like we take our puzzle pieces, we scratch away the surface, we find the hidden meaning underneath, and each time we read a story, we find a little bit more. We reveal a little bit of something new. And when I read the book of Matthew the first time, I might find something that helps me know about Jesus and God, and it makes a beautiful picture for me, and I enjoy it. Helps me to feel closer to God and Jesus, but if I read it again, a year or two later, I might find a little part of the story that I didn't even notice the first time. Anybody ever watch a movie more than once or a show, and then the second time you watch it, you notice something you didn't even see? Anybody ever have that happen? I love that. And the books of the Bible have so much in them, you can read them 100 times. And each time you find something new you didn't see before. Or it'll remind you of something that's going on in your life and make you feel something you didn't feel the first time. So our job is to read the Bible, keep scratching away at the surface, revealing something new each time, put each chapter and verse piece together, and make a whole picture. And if I'm doing the same puzzle as my neighbor, we might scratch away differently and get completely different pictures. Just like I know, and that's good. We can share those different things that we see by having conversations with our leaders and our parents and our brothers and our sisters. We have an awesome group here, you guys. Did you know that? We have a group here that is helping us to understand what we're learning, and they help us scratch away at the surface. And then we add in our prayers to God and our conversations with God when we ask for help and understanding, or we tell God, listen, I have no idea what this part means. And we keep working until we can understand the whole story, until we see the whole picture, use all those lessons that are in the Bible to help scratch away at our puzzle that sometimes is our school, sometimes it's our friends, the rest of our life. Because these stories can be applied to more than just the Bible. We can take a Bible story and use it to help us decide how to behave when we're at school, or what to do when our neighbor down the street needs help. We can use them every day to make our lives look more and more like Jesus. Imagine that they could. And that's why God gave us these stories. And that's why they've been passed down and translated so many times, because they help us be who God wants us to be. And eventually, when we have a completed puzzle, a puzzle that tells a whole story, not just one part, a puzzle that teaches us about God's people from a long, thousands of years ago, but it also reminds us a whole lot of the people that we know today. Our puzzle can help us to make a world that looks a lot like the world that Jesus envisioned for us. Would you all say a prayer with me? Awesome. Dear God, thank you for the Bible. Thank you for each piece. Thank you for all the parts that come together to make the great big story that you want us to know. Help us to put the pieces together and to learn how to live in your way from them. Amen. Thank you.